It is Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, and later today, Shauna the She-Devil will be landing in Marvel Snap as our latest Series 5 edition. 4 energy, 2 base power, with the on-reveal effect at a random 1-cost card to each location. If we consider the fact that the average 1-cost card in Marvel Snap has 2 points of stats, this means at a baseline we can typically expect Shauna to generate around 8 points worth of stats for 4 energy, which puts her on rate with other comparable playable 4 energy cards, such as Jessica Jones, Rescue, and others. Now, the thing that's very noteworthy about Shauna's effect here is that this about 8 stats worth of things is going to be spread across 4 different bodies, which allows us to leverage synergies that are very different from the other 4 cost cards in Marvel Snap to get even more out of the stats that she is providing. Today's video is going to give a rundown of my top 5 deck ideas I want to give Shauna a try in later this week when she shows up in my token shop. Let's go ahead and dive on into the details and talk about different ways that we can look to leverage this new card. Our first Shanna deck idea today is kind of a baseline Shanna Swarm deck that you are likely familiar with from your early days playing in Marvel Snap Series 1 and Series 2. Notable inclusions in this deck are armor to give our deck a little bit of counterplay against Killmonger, but Shauna in a way should help with that as well. Shauna gives us a card that we can deploy on the 6th and final turn of the game along with other cheaper cards to build our board back up after our opponent tries to wipe a good bit of it out. The big thing I think Shauna adds to this particular archetype is the fact that she makes Ebony Maw a lot more playable inside of it, with Shauna being a way that we can get additional cards into that Ebony Maw path after it has stopped us from playing additional cards there. In combination with Squirrel Girl, we can play Ebony Maw out as early as the 2nd turn and know that we're still going to be able to fill that path up with a giant pile of stats. Shauna also does an excellent job of helping us enable Mojo as well as Ant-Man on our side of the board in the mid to late game when our opponent could not be expecting us to quite be able to flesh those paths out. Our next Shauna deck idea here, Stormy Shanna, as I've entitled it, tries to play into the same kind of idea as Ebony Maw in the Shanna Swarm list we looked at before this. Specifically, Shauna provides another avenue of allowing us to get power into the flooded path after it has closed itself off. This means we can be a little bit less committal to that path when it's going to be sealing up on the 4th turn, meaning if our opponent doesn't play into it, we don't have to worry about it down the line. Past Shauna, we also have Debris as well as Doctor Doom as ways to spread out stats across the board, and Blue Marvel provides an incredible bonus in this deck since we have so many cards that put multiple bodies into play. Finally, Rescue is a very powerful 4-drop, providing 9 points worth of stats, but typically requiring us to overcommit to a single lane in order to get this bonus. With cards like Shauna and Doctor Doom, we're able to trigger that on-reveal effect for Rescue, giving her an additional 5 points worth of stats, but still spreading out the rest of our power evenly across the board, mitigating the downside that Rescue comes with as a powerful 4-drop. Death, the powerful 9 starting energy 12 power card, gets 1 cheaper for every card that's been destroyed over the course of the game, is typically the finisher in the combo Death Wave deck in Marvel Snap. That being said, I think Shauna could potentially be providing enough extra cheap bodies to destroy that perhaps a more honest variation of enabling death could be viable. Shauna, Debris, Squirrelmonger, and even Mysterio all put lots of bodies wide across the board that we can then clean up with Carnage, Killmonger, and Deathlock to greatly reduce the cost of death, eventually playing her out for little or even 0 resources. If you have Series 5 cards at your disposal, a copy of Null could perhaps be a good consideration for this archetype as well, since we'll be blowing up lots of little things, and all those stats could likely add up to something fantastic in that 6-drop. In what is easily the most flavorful of the Shanna decks I'm highlighting here today, our latest addition to Marvel Snap works quite well with the Savage Land Season Pass card Zabu. Zabu, the 3 energy, 2 power card that makes our 4 energy cards cost 2 less. This means if we play Zabu on turn 3, we'll be able to play Shanna as well as Khazar as follow-ups on turn 4. This deck is looking to flood the board with the entire contents of its hand to enable Strong Guy, a 4 energy base 4 power play that gets +6 stats all the way up to 10 power while our hand is empty. Hellcow and Blade are cards that discard cards from our hand to help make this possible in the games where Zabu doesn't show up. And then we just have a variety of other cheaper cards such as Ant-Man and Ebony Maw and Zero that Khazar will also be able to pump up as we flood out onto the board. While as highlighted, there are a variety of just series 1, 2, and 3 ways to level Shanna, I think there are also going to be things to explore with her in regards to other series 4 and 5 cards. Coming in January 31st, we'll be getting our first set of downgrades, which will include moving Valkyrie from series 5 to series 4. And I think Valkyrie is a card that has a lot of potential with Shanna. Valkyrie, for those not familiar, is a 5 energy, 3 power card that sets the power of everything in her path when she reveals to 3. This works very well with ongoing effects like Khazar, Blue Marvel, and Ant-Man in this particular deck because the setting to 3 power that Valkyrie does happens before any of these modifiers are applied. This means if you play Valkyrie as the 4th card into a path where your opponent also has 4 cards, she will set everything in both paths to 3, meaning you are 12 to 12, and then modifiers from these ongoing effects are added, allowing you to break the symmetry and win the path where your Valkyrie has been deployed. Shanna will help us fill up paths to win with Valkyrie in this manner, while also being excellent with just Khazar and Blue Marvel, cards that we're interested in playing alongside Valkyrie to break the symmetry that she creates. Because we're adding Valkyrie that can set things powers to 3, Hood is a welcome addition to this Swarm archetype as well, creating not only a body for Valkyrie to boost, but also an additional 6 power thing for us to play in another path. I've got 6,000 collector tokens ready to go, and hopefully Shanna will be gracing my shop while I'm live at twitch.tv/Jeff Hoagland all day today, like I am every day, Monday through Friday. If you've been thinking about Shanna, what decks are you looking forward to playing her in? I would love if you let me know in the comments down below so I can have other things to kick around with when I finally pick this card up. As always, if you enjoyed my breakdown here, I'd encourage you to tap that like button as an easy way to help this video reach more people. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you happen to be new here, thanks for making it all the way through to the end of the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I post Marvel Snap deck highlights, tidbits like this, and other game news updates here 7 days a week. I'd love to see you back again. Have fun snapping out there, folks, and I'll see you in the Savage Lands.